this for joking. I'm kind of a child of a father who was like an inveterate womanizer, and who like kind of just kamikazed his relationship with my mother, and sort of I grew up with a single mom, and kind of reflecting on sort of how easy it is to undo a family, and so the consequences of that. And sort of I wrote this book about a young guy who more or less sort of, you know, reenacts the very thing that victimizes him from his youth. And so this is the final chapter of this book, and it's called The Cheater's Guide to Love, and it's written in the second person, and it's basically about his, you know, his utter downfall, you know, where, I don't know, how many of you guys have had an utter downfall? Anybody? Wow, if you haven't,
Did you say one?
exactly, one? Nah, utter downfalls super suck. All right, gang, so I'm just going to read this part, and you've been very patient. The Cheater's Guide to Love, Year 0. Your girl catches you cheating. Well, actually, she is your fiancée. But in a moment, it so won't matter. She could have caught you with one sucia. She could have caught you with 2. But as you're a totally batshit güero who never emptied his email trash can, she caught you with 50. Sure, over a 6-year period, but still, 50 fucking girls? God damn. Maybe if you'd been engaged to a super open-minded Blanquita, you could have survived it. But you are not engaged to a super open-minded Blanquita. Your girl is a badass from Salcedo who doesn't believe in open anything. In fact, the one thing she warned you about that she swore that she would never forgive was cheating. I will put a machete in you, she promised. And of course you swore you wouldn't do it. You swore you wouldn't. You swore you wouldn't. And you did. She'll stick around a few months because you dated for a long, long time. Because you went through much together. Her father's death, your tenure madness, her bar exam, and because love, real love, is not so easily shed. Over a tortured 6-month period, you will fly to the DR, to Mexico, to New Zealand. You will walk the beach where they filmed The Piano. Something she'd always wanted to do. And now, in penitent desperation, you give it to her. She is immensely sad on that beach and walks up and down the shining sand alone, bare feet in the freezing water. And when you try to hug her, she says, "Don't." She stares at the rocks jutting out of the water, the wind taking her hair straight back. On the ride up to the hotel, up through those wild steeps, you pick up a pair of hitchhikers, a young couple so mixed it is ridiculous, and so giddy with love you want to throw them out the fucking car. She says nothing. Later in the hotel, she will cry. You try every trick in the book to keep her. You write her letters. You drive her to work. You quote Neruda. You compose a mass email disowning all of your sucias. You block their emails. You change your phone number. You stop drinking. You stop smoking. You claim you're a sex addict. You start attending meetings. You blame your father. You blame your mother. You blame the patriarchy. You blame the Santo Domingo. You find a therapist. You cancel Facebook. You give her all your passwords. You start taking salsa classes like you always swore you would. You claim that you were sick. You claim that you were weak. It was the book. It was the pressure. And every hour, like clockwork, you say that you are so sorry. You try it all, but one day she will simply sit up in bed and say, "No more." Yeah. And you will have to move from the Harlem apartment the two of you have shared. You consider not going. You consider a squat protest. In fact, you say you won't go. But in the end, you do. For a while, you haunt the city like a 2-bit ball player dreaming of a call-up. You phone her every day and leave messages which she doesn't answer. You write her long, sensitive letters which she returns unopened. You even show up at her apartment at odd hours and at her job downtown until finally her little sister calls you, the one who was always on your side, and she makes it plain. If you try to contact my sister again, she's going to put a restraining order on you. For some Negroes, that wouldn't mean shit. But you ain't that kind of Negro. You stop. You move back to Boston. You never see her again. Okay. And just one small piece, and you're almost out of here. Figure you need to get a real reading. Okay? So we start at the end. Normally I would have written the book this way, but I just couldn't make it work. I didn't have the talent. Sometimes, no. That's me. Oh. I wasn't joking. Yeah, you come up short. I mean, most of my books is all about coming up short. So I came up short. I wanted to start at the end and come back to the beginning, and I screwed it up. So this is the way it would have been if I had more talent. And we would have had the end, and then we would have this part. Okay? And here we go. This is the opening of the book. And this is the character before his fall. Yeah? This is what y'all sound like when you still think you're cute. I am not a bad guy. I know how that sounds. Defensive and unscrupulous, but it is true. I am like everybody else, weak, full of mistakes, but basically good. Magdalena disagrees, though. She considers me a typical Dominican man, a sucio, an asshole, because you see, many months ago when Magda was still my girl and I didn't have to be careful about almost anything, I cheated on her with this chick who had tons of 80s freestyle hair. Didn't tell Magda about that either. You know how that is. A smelly bone like that, better off buried in the backyard of your life. Magda only found out because homegirl wrote her a fucking letter. And that letter had details. Shit you wouldn't even tell your boy's drunk. The thing is, that particular bit of stupidity had been over for months. Me and Magda were on an upswing. We weren't as distant as we'd been the winter I was cheating. The freeze was over, she was coming over to my place, and instead of us hanging out with my knucklehead boys, me smoking and her bored out of her skull, we were seeing movies together, driving out different places to eat, even caught a play at the Crossroads Theater, and I took her picture with some bigwig black playwrights, picture where she's smiling so much you would think her wide-ass mouth was going to unhinge. We were a couple again, visiting each other's families on weekends, eating breakfast at diners, going to the New Brunswick Library. A nice rhythm we had. But then the letter hits like a Star Trek grenade, detonates everything past, present, and future. And suddenly, her folks want to kill me. It doesn't matter that I helped them mow their lawns, or that I helped them with their taxes 2 years in a row. Her father, who used to treat me like his hijo, calls me an asshole on the phone and sounds like he's strangling himself with the cord. You no deserve I speak to you in Spanish, he says. And I see one of Magda's girls at the Woodbridge Mall, Clarabelle, the Ecuatoriana with the biology degree and the chinita eyes, and she treats me like I ate someone's favorite fucking kid. You don't even want to hear how it went down with Magda. Like a 5-train collision. She threw Cassandra's letter at me and then sat down on the curb and started hyperventilating. Oh God, she wailed. Oh my God. This is when my boys claim they would have pulled a total fucking denial. Cassandra who? But I was too sick to my stomach to even try it. I sat down next to her, grabbed her flailing arms and said some dumb shit like, "You have to listen to me, Magda, or you won't understand." Guys, thank you.